You will never stand at this exact dawn again. Not this light, not this version of you, not this particular set of hours waiting to be spent. The morning you're inside of right now is already one of finite number, a number you do not know, and it is counting down whether you look at it or not. Most people meet that fact by looking away. They treat this morning as a draft, a rehearsal for some realer day that is coming later, when the conditions are better and the deferred decision finally makes itself. This is about refusing the draft. Remembering that you are mortal is not morbid. It is the most clarifying discipline there is. It burns away the trivial in a single pass and tells you, with a precision nothing else can match, what this hour is actually for. There's a line in hagakure, the old samurai code, that sounds dark until you understand what it was for. The way of the warrior, it says, is found in death. The instruction was not to be gloomy. It was practical. Each morning, before the day's duties began, the samurai was told to consider himself already dead, to picture the end as done, settled behind him. Sit with why a fighting man would start his day there. If you're already dead, you have nothing left to protect, no reputation to guard, no outcome to clutch, no permission to wait for. The fear that makes a person hesitate at the decisive moment loses its grip because the worst thing it threatens you with has, in the imagination, already happened. What remains, once the clutching is gone, is the action itself, clean and immediate. The samurai began at the end so that he could act freely at the beginning. That is the opposite of morbid. That is the most awake a person can be before breakfast. Notice that this is not a battlefield trick that stops being useful in an ordinary life. The hesitation it dissolves is the same hesitation you feel before the hard email, before the difficult call, before the deep work that has no quick reward and so keeps sliding to tomorrow. You guard those mornings the way the warrior guarded his life, clutching at a sense of safety that the clutching itself destroys. The instruction is to spend the safety first in your imagination so that the morning is freed of it. A person with nothing left to defend has nothing left to postpone. You can hear the same instinct in a completely different key in Walt Whitman. He wrote his great poem in the full daylight of the present, and he opens it by planting both feet in this exact moment. I celebrate myself and sing myself. He begins, and what I assume you shall assume. There is no waiting in that line. No samda. He does not celebrate the self he will become once the conditions improve. He celebrates the one that exists now, at this hour, already breathing, already on the open road. Whitman's whole project was to take the ordinary present and treat it as the only place anything real could possibly happen. Because it is. And then there's the poet who asked the question that haunts this whole morning. Mary Oliver, watching a single summer day, watching one ordinary creature live out its one ordinary life, turn at the end and put a question straight to the reader, what they meant to do with the single precious and unrepeatable life they had been given. Not their life in general, not their life eventually. The one they are holding right now, unrepeatable. That word, precious, is doing the heavy work. A thing is precious because there's not much of it. The morning is precious for exactly the same reason the samurai's meditation worked and Whitman's celebration could not wait. There's a limited supply, and you're spending some of it reading this. Put the three together, and you get the discipline. The samurai removes the fear that makes you defer. Whitman removes the fantasy that real life starts somewhere else. Oliver names the stakes out loud. Underneath all three is one fact you already know and spend most days carefully not feeling. This morning is not infinite. It will not come again. And that fact, far from crushing you, is the only thing strong enough to make you stop postponing the life you keep meaning to begin. Watch what mortality does to your priorities when you actually let it in. The trivial collapses first. The grievance you're going to nurse, the small comparison, the inbox you're going to refresh one more time before the real work, the deferred decision you have deferred so many mornings it has become furniture. Hold any of it up against the plain fact that this day is finite and unrepeatable, and most of it simply falls away. It does not survive the comparison. It was only ever surviving on the assumption of unlimited mornings. What is left, once the trivial burns off, is small and clear, and almost always uncomfortable. The deep work you have been circling, the conversation you owe someone, the postponed life, the one you describe to yourself in the future tense, that has no version that is not lived in a morning exactly like this one. Mortality does not give you more to do. It gives you less and makes the less unignorable. This is the strange gift hidden inside the hard fact. A life that felt infinite would also feel weightless. Nothing would matter more than anything else, because there would always be another morning to do the thing that matters. It is precisely the scarcity, the not much of it, that makes any single hour worth choosing well. The samurai knew this, which is why he reached for the end on purpose. The poets knew it, which is why they wrote in the present tense and asked their questions out loud. The finitude is not the enemy of the meaning. The finitude is where the meaning comes from, and it changes your relationship to fear. The thing you're avoiding this morning is not actually dangerous. It is just uncertain, and uncertainty feels like danger to a mind that assumes it has forever to get safe. Borrow the samurai's trick. Act as if the worst is already behind you. Then the only question left is not whether you are ready. It is what you will do with the hours that are undeniably still here. So begin this morning the way someone begins who knows it will not return. I remember, on purpose, that this exact morning will never come again. I let that fact burn away the trivial instead of letting the trivial burn away the morning. I act as if the worst is already behind me, so nothing left can make me hesitate. I refuse to live in the future tense, and I do the real work in the only morning I actually have. I stop deferring the decision, because the version of me who decides later is a person who may never arrive. I treat this hour as precious, which means I treat it as scarce, which means I do not waste it. I begin now, on the open road, in full daylight, awake. That is the morning, not morbid. Clarified, the end remembered early, so the beginning can be lived fully. This one, the only one on offer today. If this woke you up, stay with this channel, where every morning meets the same finitude with urgency. And tonight, the mirror of this hour, the evening titled Live Tonight Like the Last One, where Seneca, the Buddhist death awareness practice Maranasati, and Ryan Holiday meet the same fact this morning meets, but with stillness instead of urgency, closing the day fully instead of opening it fast. The same mortality answered two ways. Come back tonight for the calm half of the truth. Begin disciplined. End reflective. Begin now.